They were stagnant. Older team down the stretch. Frustrating. But they were still getting open shots. They were missing open shots. And I like open shots. And you know, Coley Mick of the Rollin Jays podcast in Section 10, you know who else likes open shots?
Who's that?
My coach, your coach, the birthday boy, Joe Mazzulla. So where's my contract extension, Coley? Tell me where my contract extension is.
It sounds like Brad kind of alluded to one already being on the books. I think Brian Robb was the one who noted the detail from the post round one. Still ridiculous that there are 2 nights for the NBA draft, but that's neither here nor there. The post round one breakdown from Brad. They asked. He seemed to say he's signed for multiple years. I think I saw Michael Hawley saying it was a 1+1. Maybe he was guessing, but I don't know. We've had genius coaches in this town on long-term deals, and we never knew the details of them before. Maybe he's next. I wouldn't be upset about that.
No, I wouldn't either. I know, like, I hate lame duck years on coaches, or at least we think they are. I'll tell you the reporting from Michael Hawley on Friday on the Zolak and Bertrand program. He said that he thinks that there's a team option and that an extension is coming soon. Matt McCarthy and I talked to Gary Washburn of the Globe a few weeks ago, and he said that Joe Mazzulla is considered a good young coach, will have a job for life with the Celtics, and he wasn't worried about a contract extension from Joe Mazzulla. So, Coley, my question to you is, with Tatum being out, do you think, and I know the answer is yes on my end, do you think Joe Mazzulla is going to adjust how the Celtics play this upcoming season with no Jayson Tatum, at least for the first part of the year?
I think you have to. I think it's going to be his most trying test to date. And this is a guy who went from kind of the end of the bench to here are your championship or bust expectations as soon as the Drew Holiday extension and that sort of timeline right before the season started the year prior. But yeah, how could you not? Jayson Tatum is an all-encompassing hub of all things offense and defense, by the way. When Rob Williams went down a few years back, who was playing that 5 defensively? It was Jayson Tatum. Against the Dallas Mavericks in the finals, who was covering their lob threats? It was Jayson Tatum. So it's both ends of the court. Tatum's become such a prolific passer, shooter, driver to the rim, a thing he struggled with severely when he first got into the league. And now he's among the elite. The only thing he can't do well is draw fouls, and I mostly blame the refs for that, not so much him.
Good job,
so
Tommy.
Yeah,
good job, Tommy Heinsohn.
I mean, no one's taught me more about how to view the officials than that man. Rest in peace, Tommy. But yeah, I don't know how it couldn't be harder. And when that's the one thing. Like, if we don't trade Simons, I'm not too upset about it, because I do think he would help. He would have helped tremendously in that Knicks series, because he is a jitterbug. He is going to go get his own bucket. He is going to destagnate a lot of that. But I think this, as we've seen with most of the trades that have happened so far in the NBA, a lot of those score first guards are on the market, and I think there are more out there if that's the route Stevens wants to pursue.
Here's what I think people miss about Joe Mazzulla. And this is why we all believe Brad Stevens is a good coach. He's an outstanding coach. When he was coaching, he's excellent. He's a top 5 coach, maybe the number 1 coach at different times in his coaching career at the NBA level. Brad Stevens had a team of what I would call less thans in the Bridgie Celtics, as we called them during Felger and Maz. And so he coached up lesser talent, and his out-of-timeout plays were great. Joe Mazzulla was handed the keys to a team that had just lost the NBA Finals. So the expectations and the eyeballs on how Joe Mazzulla coaches are vastly different. Joe Mazzulla came in here with a turnkey operation. He won a championship in his second year, but he never coached the underdog team, the quote-unquote underdog team, and had a higher win total than he was supposed to. And I think that's part of the reason why Mazzulla is criticized as a coach, is he's had this turnkey championship team. This will be the first time that we see Joe with a quote-unquote less than team, and I still think they should be 3 in the East, no matter what. But with the Tatum injury, we now see if Joe Mazzulla can coach. Does that make sense, Coley?
Yeah, I definitely think it's that, and I think people viewed his experimentation, especially in year 1, as this guy's stubborn and he's too over his head. Right? I was nauseated every time people brought up, why isn't he calling timeouts in game 37 down 2 against the Hawks on the road? Like, what do you mean? Why would he? We need to figure some stuff out. He's a first-time head coach. He's also training his guys to be ready for every thing that you would think a region of people who watch Bill Belichick do this forever would be used to the idea of using some regular season games as trial and error. And he's going to get unfairly criticized for, I think, this Knicks series. I think the team was a lot more injured, needed a good job hiding that heading into the series. I don't know. I'm very high on him, and as you said, his ability to draw up open shots. It drives me crazy when people say, "Oh, all he does is shoot threes." When Kristaps was healthy in the first year, he led the league in points per possession and post ups. If there's anything he's going to get for Luka Garza, the freshly signed face of the franchise, it's going to be open post ups that he's going to be able to score on if he's going to be out there. Joe can draw up really everything. He's great out of timeouts as well. And oh yeah, the one thing people conveniently like to forget when they talk about Joe Mazzulla, he's the reason all the do Tatum and Brown hate each other conversations ended, because he was the one who got them so blissfully together on the court. They were always good off the court.
Well, and so part of that too is the second half of the Ime Udoka run. When Brown and Tatum really got it together, because I still believe that they were threatened. Like, you wanted Udoka as a coach, now you got to play like it. Don't play like what did Udoka say that they were playing like? They were playing like bitches at one point. I think that's an actual quote from the coach.
Everything, yeah.
So like they got their act together the second half of that season, and they made the finals, and they lost to the Warriors because the Warriors were a better cutting team, Coley. They cut better than everybody else, but they've been cutting. But that's going to be the new buzzword, Coley, is cutting, because Scalabrini told me so, and that's what it is.
Is that with our new bench piece, Hugo?
Yes, and this is where I'm leading you to, Coley, because Hugo Gonzalez was the number 28 pick in this year's NBA draft. Last year, Coley, did you know that Draft Express, and in fact specifically on January 23rd, 2024, had Hugo Gonzalez as the number 5 pick in the draft behind Cooper Flagg and Ace Bailey? Did you know that, Coley?
Yeah.
Your thoughts on Hugo Gonzalez?
Yeah, the international players are always so tough to judge because they're playing 4 minutes a game for a team of former NBA players with Real Madrid. But I do find it interesting if you go back and watch a lot of his World Cup exposure, specifically against teams like France and Team USA, he was out there holding his own against players his own age, like Cooper Flagg, like Jeremiah Fears, like every French player that's been drafted in the first round over the last 2 years, including several in this draft, including the first overall pick last year in Zachary Reese-Archet. He's held his own time and time again against other top competition of his own age. In that game against Cooper Flagg, of course, Team USA won. This was the U17 circuit. Of course, Team USA won. That's what we do. But he was Spain's best player, and Spain has been one of the powers underneath Team USA internationally this entire millennium. So this is a guy Real Madrid saw at age 9 they've had in their system, much like Luka Doncic had in their system forever. And they were sad to see him go. They were sad to see it. That tells me a lot. If the team you're leaving is like, listen, we get it, this is your dream, but we'd wish to win more championships with you here. Yeah, that's a good thing to me. So he's raw, he's athletic. He had the biggest hands in the combine this year. I'm all in. I'm all in on letting the kid develop. And that's the one thing with Tatum. I don't think you can do this 2 timelines thing the Warriors lied about. With Tatum out, if they are going to commit to this, I am glad he's over here. Let him get his feet wet so that when Tatum is back, he's ready to go.
He's probably your eighth player, and he's going to go back and forth between the Celtics, Maine, Boston, and Maine. So you'll be on site for a lot of those games, I'm sure, Coley. I want firsthand scouting reports because he's in Maine, and of course, well, actually, do we admit that you're in Maine, or are you still in parts unknown?
No, it's super known I'm in Maine, but no one's coming up here to do anything about it, so it's okay.
You and Chad Finn should get to know each other. Chad Finn, is a Maine guy. The other NBA draft is Amari Williams. And I was told by somebody in NBA circles that his passing skills could be compared to Robert Parrish. He's a good passer. He's a good defender coming out of Kentucky, 7'5" wingspan, defensive prowess, basketball IQ. Feels like potentially he'll grow into being a rim running big if he makes it, but he's a second round pick. Coley, what are your thoughts on Amari Williams?
I like Amari Williams. I end up watching a lot of Kentucky and hearing a lot about Kentucky from my co-host of a decade, and Tyler, who's a Kentucky grad. I like Amari. He does leave you wanting a little bit in terms of, hey, put the ball in the basket. I don't want to call him Ben Simmons-esque because that would be unfair to anybody. But there were a couple times, especially in the tournament, where it'd be like, Amari, you could dominate here, and you didn't. With that being said, he is extremely athletic. He can get the rebound and push it the length of the court, and you feel comfortable with him running your offense, at least at the college level, getting the rebound, pushing it, finding someone with a nice assist. He is a tremendous passer. I do believe he's going to be a menace around the rim. I do believe he will be a good lob threat. I was surprised initially that he was getting kind of sent directly to Maine and Hugo was going to bounce back and forth. If Luka Garza is going to be his competition in camp, I feel pretty confident about Amari Williams being able to make an impact on this year's Celtics team and moving forward.
Luka Garza, apparently a big Brad Stevens guy. Brad, I guess, has been pursuing him for a little bit of time, according to the Wolves athletic beat writer, and I don't have his name in front of me. Skaz pointed this out to me, that the Wolves beat writer for the Athletic is saying, yep, this is a Brad Stevens guy. This is somebody who's Brad has wanted for a long time. So he's your Lou Cornett replacement, at least for now. He might be your starting center on opening night at the rate of the Celtics selling off players.
Honestly, yeah, it's not my favorite. We've had so many fun off seasons last year.
This is not my favorite either, Coley.
No, we've had much more enjoyable. But I mean, Brad does like to pull a rabbit out of the hat as well. So I'm gonna keep hope until he tells me there's no reason to. Especially, like, I look at a team like the Spurs. They took a guard because they had the second overall pick. They did not win the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. The NBA didn't hand them another generation of talent. But they drafted a guy who doesn't really fit with their last first round pick in Stephon Castle. It doesn't really fit with De'Aaron Fox. Can I have one of those two guys, please? That would help me out tremendously in terms of my enjoyment level for this year and moving forward.
There's a trade there with there's a way that the Celtics can get Sabonis, and I haven't done the math on it, but they need a big. The Celtics could use a big who shoots if you're still going to go with open shots and they happen to be 3-pointers because math works. There's a trade there with the Kings and Sabonis. And Jaylen Brown for Sabonis. I don't do it at this point. No. But it's a thought. Like, I hesitate for it, but I don't want to move on from Jaylen Brown. And Jaylen Brown, with all the work that he's done in the community, he wants to be here. It's clear he wants to be here. He wants to be the leader, and I think he's going to get MVP votes this year. And I want Jaylen Brown here because of I know that I can win a championship with Jaylen Brown as one of my big pieces.
Right. Yeah. I'm less thinking about trading Jaylen. Derek White gets older every time I look at his basketball reference page, and it's upsetting because I love Derek White and Jayson Tatum loves Derek White. You got Jayson Tatum last year. He says Al's his favorite guy on the team. Derek White's taking offense to that in tongue-in-cheek matter. Al looks like he's ready to set screens and do pick and rolls with Steph Curry any minute now. And not so like who are Jayson Tatum's friends going to be when the time he gets back? I think that's a very important part of all this. What is he training for? I know you saw the tweet on Friday, him not really enjoying going through all the motions and getting back to being healthy with the injuries. So yeah, what does he have to look forward to? I don't think you can just sell him on a lottery ticket at AJ DeBanstead, as much as that would be great. I don't know that that's what's like getting him through so that he can be back March, April.
There is a big they could go get if a friend of Tatum plays on the Miami Heat.
I have him on my list. Unless Pat Riley is as senile as he appears, would he ever trade us Bam Adebayo?
I mean, if the offer's right, I don't know what that offer is. I don't know. I'd have to look at what the math. Because as we know, thank you, JJ Redick. The math always works.
Right.
Still, like, I love playing the JJ. JJ Redick's a good coach on the grease board. He just doesn't communicate necessarily well. Let me pull up the Miami Heat. Bam makes 37.
Yeah, so it would be. It's very doable because they are losing Duncan Robinson, and I know Spo likes to keep a white shooter on him. So Sam Hauser and Anthony Simon's money would work Obviously, picks would have to go back to Miami as well. But if they're willing to help us out, yeah, Bam would be very high on my list of targets for sure.
Yeah, and that's a friend of Jayson Tatum, which I'm all for. Coley Mick, my final question to you is, if it's for one season and it doesn't cost you Jaylen Brown or Derek White, would you welcome LeBron James to the Boston Celtics?
It's already rocky times with the Boston Celtics. I don't want to introduce anyone even remotely associated with Fenway Sports Group to that team. It's just not something I'm particularly interested in. But other than that, I wish him well.
See, I would welcome it because I want a bridge year. I don't want to throw away a season. I think LeBron would help you win games, and there would be so much drama.
For sure.
There would be so much mischief. But LeBron James, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, I don't know how the math works. That's for somebody else to figure out and me to criticize later on. But like, I'd do it for 1 year, and because it would be fun. It would be fun having LeBron as a Celtic because it's so polarizing, right? Because there's so good.
It would be I think more criticized than the decision by both parties. Like I think it would be that level. It wouldn't even just be LeBron to the Celtics. It would be Lakers LeBron to the Celtics. Like it would be an extra additive wrinkle to it. It would be tremendous theater, of course, but yeah, if there was a way to just like have Tatum's money pause and you could just add that, I'd be fine with it. But giving up any type of asset that could potentially help Luka and the Lakers, I couldn't be more against. That's where I have to draw the line.
And that's where I put the provisions on it. Is like, you're not trading Brown, you're not trading White. It's just LeBron's coming here for 7 different players and some picks that hopefully you win another title and they don't really matter or anything like that. Coley, any closing thoughts here?
No, just thank you so much for having me. When I logged on here, I saw the Red Sox were up 7-0, and then I just saw someone say that Ellie De La Cruz stepped to the dish in an attempt to tie the game. So that things going well down at the friendly confines, as they always are.
So when we started, it was 7-0, and I was like, oh, this will be easy, no problem. Like, game will be on in the background. I can talk hoops with Coley, no issue. And then the Reds put on a 4 spot, and now I'm looking at the clock, and I'm like, is Coley going to be on the air with us doing Tied in the 8th on Section 10? That was a legit concern of mine. Rafaela misplayed a ball. The Reds were just pounding Garrett Crochet for a little bit. And I'm like, oh, we're going to be simulcast on the Section 10 while they're doing Tied in the 8th. And, there'll be a little bit of a distraction going on. But thankfully, that did not happen. And for your sake, Coley, I hope there isn't a Tied in the 8th tonight, because that means there's bad things going on at Fenway Park, and I do not want that.
No, especially after Willie just hit a inside the park home run, a legitimate one too, which is very funny. So yeah, no Tied in the 8th tonight, please and thank you. But I appreciate you having me on, and hope we can do this again sometime, pal.
Coley, I appreciate you coming on and talking some hoops. You're part of the Rollin Jays. You are on Section 10. You're on Twitter at Coley Mick. And I hope we can have another meal at Kowloon soon, because we haven't had one of those in a long time. So
1000%.
Thank you. It's good to talk to you.